Hello, I'm Manuel Neira, Vice President of Products and Advisory Services. Today, I have the pleasure of being accompanied by Mike Moorman, CEO and founder of ERP Suites. Thanks for joining today, Mike.
I really look forward to our conversations here.
So let's talk 64-bit. And as we know, 64-bit is on the minds of everyone that has a technology solution. It's something that is impacting the broad spectrum of solutions that exist in the marketplace, including ERP. The wave is driving considerations for upgrades, migrations, and other investments that need to be made to be able to support 64-bit, Mike. So can you give us, I know you have lots of experience in this space, spoken to customers, been on panels, so we'd love to get your perspective on 64-bit to start off.
Sure, yeah. You know, our customers today, it's amazing how much activity there is around 64-bit today. We have a lot of customers who already been on that migration and completed it. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of customers starting the migration process, and we got a lot of customers trying to discover what does it mean for them, right? And there's so many things to take into consideration when you're looking at 64-bit side of things. And I think we can probably help customers out. What are those things you should be looking for when you might look at 64-bit? Do I have to go to 64-bit? Maybe I can stay on 32-bit. And what does it mean? But I'd be curious maybe if you don't mind, maybe if I could ask you, since you've been at Oracle for 26 years, maybe give us the why we're having to do 64-bit. What was Oracle's direction? What's their direction with that? And what's the push for Oracle to get our customers up to 64-bit?
Sure, Mike, I can certainly share some insight on that because it was, when I was at Oracle, there were a lot of considerations going on, right, for 64-bit. And some of the ones that probably a lot of people know about are their performance, implications or benefits, I should say, that come by way of 64-bit solutions, upgrading from 32-bit to 64-bit. And that was a big allure. And then, of course, with a company like Oracle that's constantly investing in R&D and driving products forward, there are new capabilities that they could enable, whether it was at the database level, within Java, or in a variety of its technology components. So that was maybe one initial series of steps that happened, right? They started investing in 64-bit solutions for those components. And as with any life cycle of products, those products became kind of the more recent versions, maybe not the super bleeding edge ones, and customers wanted to adopt those. And in some cases, that's when it also triggered, well, there's a dependency now to other systems, including ERP. And those products then had to look at, okay, 64-bit, how do we support 64-bit so that we can comply with some of the technology components? So that drove kind of really the direction for JD Edwards to support 64-bit, so it could customers could leverage the latest and greatest technologies from Oracle.
And I think the interesting thing too, 64-bit's actually been an option for customers now for a couple of years, right? Mm-hmm. I forget exact tools really starting with, but somewhere in 9.2, 9.3, that you were able to, you had a path either to stay at 32-bit or actually migrate to 64-bit, which I don't think a lot of customers really probably even understood they had that option. Probably weren't well educated and probably didn't want to be on the bleeding edge either. But now, customers starting with 9.2.6, you don't have a choice, right? So our customers have to, when they get to 9.2.6 or 9.2.7, want to take that tools release, you're forced into the 64-bit. We get a lot of customers going, okay, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means when I got to go to 64-bit. And the interesting thing that we talk to our customers about when you're doing 64-bit, the conversion process actually go from 32-bit to 64-bit is actually pretty easy. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing, right? So the migration is straightforward. Mm-hmm. It doesn't require a whole lot of consulting time, pretty quickly. But it's all the other pieces that come with that. Mm-hmm. That starts that snowball and causes our customers to take on a bigger project in there. So maybe I think it might be helpful for our customers, what are some of those considerations? If you're on a tools release and I'm going to go to 926 or above. 927 is now out, right?
Correct.
What should I be looking at, right? Because you have two paths to kind of pick, and I think it'd be good for them to understand that there are two paths, first of all, and then what might be best for them.
Absolutely. No, they're kind of two general paths, I think, what you're alluding to, Mike. One is sit tight and, kind of wait for the time where it's good for you as a business to go to 64-bit. And what does that mean, right? You can continue running your JD Edwards. You can continue taking, some updates and whatnot. But like you said, there is a tools release of which it becomes required. But the good thing is that the tools releases that exist that still support 32-bit are relatively young, right? They're not very old. In time, that may change, right? So
Sure.
situations can change, but that buys you a kind of a runway for you to figure out as a customer. Okay, when do we want to plan this out, right? So that would be one of the suggestions: is customers should start looking at what their game plan is for 64-bit. If it's not now to adopt, when is it? So they can plan and they don't have kind of a little bit of a fire drill once that time comes when they have to go to a tools release and it's only 64-bit, right?
Yep.
So that's one option. The other option is to evaluate going to 64-bit now, but that also, like you alluded to earlier, it pulls other components into the equation, right, for migrations and updates. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of those components and what that means?
Absolutely. So, like I said, with the migration of 64-bit, it's pretty straightforward. However, there are ESUs that you need to take in on those ESUs. And the problem that we're seeing in the experience that we had with our customers is most of our customers have probably applied update 1 or 2 before when they did their implementation, but they never taken an update since then. So the ESUs that are required for the 64-bit, that helps fix the business functions. When you take those on, they hit prereqs. And then those prereqs then start having some baseline prereqs. So all of a sudden the snowball starts getting bigger, bigger, and bigger to the point that you're basically going to have to take on the latest and greatest update, which is now called Release 23. So first thing you need to really do is check which update are you on. If you're usually we tell customers if you're on update 2 or less, right, just plan on you're going to have to take the latest and greatest updates. That's easy enough, right, to take on the latest, greatest updates. But the ramifications of doing that is now you're going to have to go back and have a retrofitting activity, right? That retrofitting of those objects that might have got replaced is what we have to do now, the research. So not only do we put the tools release on, now we can do the 64-bit migration, but now we've also have put the update on, so now there's a retrofitting piece of it. So you can see now this project that you think might be here is starting to grow. It gets even more, right? So when you get to 926, 927, the minimum technical requirements come out for different operating systems. A lot of customers, if they're on update 2, they're probably on an older tools release, which means they are on older operating systems. And we see a lot of people still on like a Windows 2012 R2. That's coming out of support. Even on the IBM side, V7 R3 is coming out of support this year too. So this is a great opportunity as well to expand that project scope to take on and really get up to a great technical footprint that we call it. So that's not only just getting up to new servers and new OSs, but getting your WebLogic, getting your database up to date, and any other technologies that might be along with that, right? So now we're getting really current, right? If you think about it, we're getting all those things. But the scope of that 64-bit has really now grown in size, right?
Yep.
And to be honest with you, we saved the best for last. So there's one piece we haven't talked about, right, on that scope of that project. And this is where that scope even gets bigger when you look at 64-bit, right? So when you look at it, is the third-party products, right? There's many third-party products that are integrated inside of JD Edwards that also are affected by that 64-bit migration, and those are going to potentially have to be upgraded or updated or do something with that third-party program in order to make it 64-bit compliant. So now you can see how this project has started out small, is usually growing to a pretty large project and endeavor for a lot of our customers. right? So typically these projects are kind of that 3 to 6 months type endeavors. But at the end of the day, if you're going to put the time and effort into, you get all the way up to date systems. That helps in so many aspects, right? Not just new functionality JD Edwards, but cybersecurity is a big deal out there right now, right? Being on the latest and greatest OSs, patches, and all that that has in there. So, but at the end of the day, we still have customers, like you said, on those two paths saying, is that 64-bit right? Is there another option? And that's where we do talk to customers where we do sometimes take them up to the latest and greatest 925. I think it's 9256. Right. We still do the OS updates and the new servers and the new WebLogic and new database. But what we don't do is that 64-bit migration or a new update. So the scope of that project then is a lot more tolerable if they need that. However, they're still not getting all the new functionality that you would have with the 926, 927, or the update 7 that you have.
Another video that we did, we talked about different methods for delivering projects, right? And big bang, iterative. It sounds like what I heard you say is that some customers could start kind of working on the components, upgrading some of the components so that they can do those, whether it's a database or a complementary technological piece, get those updated so that when they do the 64-bit, the number of things that need to get upgraded or migrated are fewer, right? So then you're kind of chunking it out and spreading that kind of effort across so it doesn't have to be big bang.
Correct. And we talk to those in phases with our customers, right?
That's fantastic.
And it helps reduce the risk, but it does extend timelines. But some of our customers are okay with that, right? They rather take that time to plan for some of those in there. They might even take a time to look at the third-party products and decide, hey, maybe I'll switch off of them because I could potentially do stuff now inside with Orchestrator. So other options that they have. But yeah, so there's not a one-size-fit-all, right, with a 64-bit. But I will tell you, a lot of our customers are on that journey or on a journey to get to 64-bit. It might be in a phase approach or it might be all at once. But there's a lot of options there. And that's where I think we can help out and kind of lay out those options. And what we've done for customers, we have a nice workshop that we do a lot of discovery with. And we've automated a lot, which is good. So it doesn't require a lot of the customer's time. But in that discovery, we can lay out all those pieces of the project that we have, from retrofitting to third parties and what you need to do with those. And it even tells you what enhancements are in 23 that really you might be able to take advantage of. So, those workshops we're helping with our current customers, we're offering it out there. We'll do it free of charge because we think it's very important to educate people how and what it means to get the 64-bit, because it's just not a simple jump tools release to get there.
No, great points, great points. One thing I'll add, and also from my experience at Oracle, when I was at Oracle, and we were working on the 64-bit tools enhancement for JD Edwards. We reached out to the partner ecosystem about doing proactive testing and making sure that these third parties that we talked about, right, particularly the ones that are validated with JD Edwards, we're up to snuff, we're enhanced correctly, tested, and given feedback. So my suggestion for customers that are listening here today is that they reach out to their vendors, ask them about 64-bit. They should have been, engaged there, and it shouldn't be a surprise. Like you said, this has been out for a few years now.
Right.
So it's something that every vendor should be aware and be able to answer customer questions on. Thank you for all that valuable insight in terms of 64 bits, some considerations, the various components that customers need to consider, right, when looking at 64-bit for their JD Edwards system. And as well as giving a perspective that this is not something new. It's been out there for some time, so it's imperative that customers start planning for that. So I appreciate the intel. I think this will be valuable for our customers to hear and analyze. Anything else you'd like to mention before we wrap up today?
One, thank you for having me, but two, don't go alone on the journey is what I would tell people, right? There's a lot of expertise that we've been through this. So reach out to somebody because we can definitely help and minimize the mistakes that people have made in the past. So anything we can do to help, it'd be great.
Fantastic. And as you said, it can be phased out, so there's definitely plenty of options. So no need to wait for a big bang type of approach. So thanks again, Mike. Excellent information. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time.